There comes a moment in every person's journey when life demands that you stop moving with your emotions and start moving with your wisdom, because the future you desire cannot be built on feelings. It can only be built on truth. Emotions are powerful forces. They move nations, start revolutions, shape destinies, and ignite dreams. But when it comes to investing, whether it is money, relationships, opportunities, or the future, those same emotions become the most unreliable guides you could ever follow. Emotion rushes you. Emotion blinds you. Emotion pushes you to act before you think, jump before you look, and commit before you understand. And the truth is, most people do not lose because they lack knowledge. They lose because they let their feelings make decisions their mind was supposed to make. Emotion convinces you that the moment is slipping away. It creates illusions of urgency, making you believe that if you do not act right now, you will never get another chance. It makes an ordinary opportunity look extraordinary and turns a mild setback into a catastrophe. Emotion distorts everything it touches. It magnifies small rumors into large fears. It turns the excitement of others into pressure on you. When you invest based on feelings, you are essentially giving control of your life to forces that change every hour. Think about how many decisions you once believed were absolutely right because they felt right at the time. Think about how many times fear made you walk away too soon, or how many times excitement made you jump in too quickly. Emotion is fast, and the faster you move, the less you see. Emotion never asks if the decision aligns with your long-term vision. It only asks one question: how do you feel right now? But wealth, growth, and success never come from right now. They come from what remains after the feelings fade. Feelings rise like waves. They crash powerfully, but they never stay. You cannot build a foundation on something that shifts with every tide. You cannot trust a voice that changes with every headline, every trend, every opinion, every impulse. Emotion can be beautiful when it inspires you, but it becomes dangerous when it guides you. It can motivate your steps, but it should never determine your direction. The people who create lasting success are not the ones who feel the strongest emotions. They are the ones who have learned to pause long enough for the emotion to pass. They are the ones who wait for the water to settle before they try to see the bottom. They are the ones who step back, breathe, and ask themselves, is this choice wise, or is this choice a reaction? Emotion will tell you that every opportunity is urgent, but your future will tell you the opposite. Nothing truly meant for you will require panic. Emotion will try to sell you shortcuts, but your destiny will always require patience. Emotion will tempt you to follow the crowd, but wisdom will push you to walk your own path. And so the greatest shift you can make, the one that changes everything, is learning to feel deeply but decide calmly. Feelings are allowed to visit, but they are never allowed to lead. Only your clarity can do that. Only your long-term vision deserves that power. Because the moment you stop investing based on emotion, you begin investing based on truth. And truth is the only investment that never fails. Within every person, there is an inner guidance system, a deep and quiet intelligence that knows far more than your emotions ever will. But this guidance speaks in whispers, not in shouts. It waits for you to slow down, silence the noise, and allow clarity to rise above impulse. Most people make decisions in the heat of the moment, not because they truly understand what they're choosing, but because their emotions create pressure that feels too heavy to ignore. Yet clarity cannot survive in an environment filled with urgency, fear, or excitement. You must learn to create the space where your inner guidance can be heard. Your inner guidance is not something mystical or unreachable. It is the part of you that sees beyond feelings. It observes patterns, remembers lessons, and recognizes truth long before the mind can explain it. But it only becomes powerful when you stop reacting and start reflecting. When you rush, you shut off access to your deepest wisdom. When you panic, your mind collapses into survival mode. When you chase quick outcomes, you disconnect from your long-term purpose. No matter how strong or intelligent a person is, if they allow impulse to replace clarity, their decisions will always be shaky. Clarity requires stillness. Before you invest in anything, your money, your time, your trust, you must pause long enough to let the emotional dust settle. The world moves quickly, but wisdom moves slowly, and the decisions that shape your future should never be made at the speed of emotion. They should be made at the speed of understanding. You must learn to sit with the decision, feel the pressure rise, and refuse to let that pressure guide you. When you detach emotion from decision-making, what remains is pure truth. Most people confuse feelings with intuition. They are not the same. Feelings are loud, unstable, and reactive. Intuition is quiet, steady, and rooted in clarity. Feelings respond to the moment. Intuition responds to the bigger picture. Feelings want relief. Intuition wants alignment. If a decision feels like it's pushing you, rushing you, or overwhelming you, it is emotional. If a decision feels calm, grounded, and certain, even if it requires courage, it is intuitive. The difference is subtle but life-changing. Your inner guidance does not speak through urgency. It speaks through certainty. It speaks in the moments when you step back and evaluate rather than surrender to the pull of your emotions. It speaks when you stop asking, "What do I feel right now?" and start asking, "What will serve my future?" This shift elevates everything. It frees you from the traps of fear and excitement. It protects you from mistakes disguised as opportunities. It aligns your actions with your purpose rather than with your impulses. The truth is, you already know what you should and should not invest in. Deep down, you already sense which choices lead to growth and which lead to regret. But to access that knowing, you must create the environment where clarity can rise. You must slow down the tempo of your decisions. You must treat every choice as a seed that will someday grow into a result. And seeds planted in rushed soil never grow strong roots. When you choose clarity over impulse, you step into a life where your decisions are intentional, your path is stable, and your future is shaped by wisdom rather than emotion. That is the beginning of true mastery. There is a profound power in discipline, a steady force that transforms chaos into structure, impulse into strategy, and wishful thinking into tangible results. Yet discipline is often misunderstood. People see it as restriction, as something that limits freedom. But in reality, discipline is the very thing that creates freedom. It is the mechanism that turns random actions into predictable outcomes. When you invest with discipline, you no longer depend on luck, emotion, or chance. You operate with intention, clarity, and control. Discipline is not about denying yourself. It is about directing yourself. It is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Most people invest emotionally, financially, or mentally without a plan. They follow excitement, trends, opinions, and impulses. They move because others are moving. They react because others are reacting. They chase because they are afraid to fall behind. This pattern leads to inconsistent results and endless frustration. The truth is, without discipline, even the best opportunities become wasted. Without discipline, you will buy too high, sell too low, commit too quickly, or quit too soon. Discipline is the anchor that holds you steady while feelings pull you in every direction. Discipline teaches you to say no to the noise. It teaches you to step back when your emotions want to jump in. It builds a mindset that is not seduced by hype or weakened by fear. Instead of reacting to the world, discipline trains you to respond to your plan. And that shift alone can change the entire trajectory of your life. A disciplined investor of time, effort, or money does not fall for short-term illusions. They follow a strategy that aligns with their long-term vision. When you have discipline, you trust your system more than your emotions. You trust your logic more than your impulses. You trust the process more than the moment. But discipline does not appear overnight. It is something you build through small, consistent actions. It starts with setting rules for yourself, rules you respect even when emotions rise. It means deciding in advance how much you'll invest, when you'll invest, and under what conditions you will walk away. It means committing to learning instead of reacting, analyzing instead of rushing. Every rule you create becomes a guardrail that protects you from emotional decisions. Every boundary you set becomes a shield against chaos. The moment you commit to discipline, you reclaim your power. You stop being controlled by every external movement. You stop being shaken by fear and manipulated by excitement. You operate from a center, a structure, a plan. And from that place, your decisions become sharper. Your results become predictable. Your growth becomes inevitable. Discipline gives you the power to stay the course when everyone else is drifting. It allows you to remain calm when others panic, focused when others are distracted, and strategic when others are emotional. In the end, discipline is the master skill that separates temporary success from lasting success. It is not dramatic, flashy, or emotional. It is steady, reliable, and transformative. The more disciplined you become, the more powerful your decisions become. And the more powerful your decisions become, the more successful your life becomes. Patience is one of the most underestimated forces in the world of investing and in life itself. It is quiet, humble, and often ignored in a world that glorifies speed, urgency, and instant results. Yet patience is the very thing that multiplies everything it touches. Money grows through patience. Wisdom matures through patience. Strength develops through patience. But people often confuse waiting with wasting time. True patience is not passive, it is strategic. It is the conscious decision to allow things to unfold at the pace that leads to the greatest reward, rather than the fastest relief. In investing, impatience is the silent killer. It pushes people to jump into opportunities without understanding them and forces them to exit too soon out of fear. It makes them chase rapid profits instead of steady growth. Impatience magnifies every market shift, turning small fluctuations into emotional earthquakes. It convinces you that if something isn't happening immediately, then it must not be working. And that is where most people fail, not because the opportunity was wrong, but because they lacked the endurance to let it grow. Patience, on the other hand, is a form of intelligence. It recognizes that meaningful results require time to compound. It understands that progress often happens quietly beneath the surface, long before it becomes visible. A tree does not sprout the moment a seed is planted. The roots develop first, hidden and unseen. Most people abandon the process during the unseen stage, not realizing that this is when the real foundation is being built. Patience lets you stay long enough to witness the breakthrough that impatience would have made you miss. The most successful investors, leaders, and creators all share one trait: patience. They understand cycles, they understand timing, they understand that the world operates in seasons and that every season has a purpose. Not everything is meant to bloom instantly. Some things must be prepared, nurtured, protected, and given space to grow. Patience gives you access to this natural rhythm. It allows you to work in harmony with time rather than in conflict with it. But patience does not mean inactivity. It means purposeful waiting. It means continuing to learn, continuing to monitor, continuing to stay committed even when results are not immediate. It means having the emotional maturity to resist the temptation of shortcuts and the strength to trust the long-term path. When you practice patience, you begin to see opportunities that others miss because they are too focused on immediate satisfaction. You begin to understand that slow growth is often the strongest growth. Impatience leads to regret, but patience leads to mastery. Every impulsive decision you avoid becomes a victory. Every emotional reaction you resist becomes strength. Every moment you stay committed, even when progress is slow, becomes part of the compound interest of your future success. Patience turns time into an ally instead of an enemy. It multiplies every effort you make. In the end, patience is not about waiting, it is about trusting. Trusting the process, trusting the timing, and trusting that what you're building will reward you far more in the long run than anything impatience could offer in the moment. When you embrace patience, you embrace the power that transforms potential into prosperity. Preparation is the antidote to fear. It is the quiet force that gives you confidence when others panic, clarity when others are confused, and direction when others are lost. Most emotional decisions are born from a lack of preparation. When you don't understand something, you fear it. When you fear it, you rush, you hesitate, or you surrender to the loudest opinion around you. But when you prepare, truly prepare. You replace fear with certainty. You stop relying on luck and start relying on knowledge. You stop guessing and start strategizing. Preparation doesn't guarantee perfection, but it guarantees that you won't collapse the moment pressure appears. Fear thrives in the unknown. When you don't know what you're doing, everything feels risky. Every opportunity feels dangerous. Every setback feels fatal. Your emotions amplify every outcome because you are operating in darkness. But preparation turns on the light. It reveals the path before you. It shows you what to expect, what to avoid, and how to respond. Most people get shaken not because the situation is unstable, but because they are unprepared. Preparation builds internal stability, allowing you to remain calm even when everything around you is turbulent. In investing, whether financial or personal, preparation means doing your homework. It means understanding what you're entering before you enter it. It means studying, analyzing, questioning, observing. The more you know, the less your emotions will control you. If you understand the game, you won't panic when the game gets tough. If you understand the strategy, you won't abandon it when challenges arise. Preparation strengthens your foundation so that your decisions are based on truth rather than impulse. When you prepare, you stop being reactive. You stop chasing rumors, trends, and shortcuts. Instead, you act with purpose. You choose opportunities because they align with your plan, not because they soothe your feelings. You move forward because you see the bigger picture, not because you feel pressure in the moment. Preparation allows you to anticipate challenges before they arrive. It allows you to expect setbacks without being overwhelmed by them. It gives you the resilience to stay committed even when the path is difficult. The truth is, success rarely belongs to the most emotional or the most talented. Success belongs to the most prepared. Preparation makes you consistent. It makes you stable. It makes you confident in a world that constantly pushes people to doubt themselves. When you are prepared, you don't fear competition because you know you've done the work. You don't fear loss because you understand the risk. You don't fear failure because you have a plan to rise again. Preparation also builds patience. When you know you've equipped yourself with the right tools, you don't rush, you don't panic. You trust your process, you trust the time it takes, and when your emotions try to push you into impulsive decisions, preparation holds you steady. It acts as a reminder that you are capable, informed, and ready. In the end, preparation doesn't remove challenges, it removes panic. It doesn't eliminate uncertainty, it eliminates confusion. It gives you the strength to face whatever comes with a calm mind and a steady heart. When you prepare, fear loses its power. And when fear loses its power, your decisions become sharper, your results become stronger, and your path becomes clearer than ever. Your future will not change simply because you hope for it, wish for it, or wait for it. Your future changes the moment your mindset changes. Every breakthrough begins internally, long before anything shifts externally. People spend years chasing new opportunities, new strategies, new investments, new environments, yet they keep experiencing the same results because they are operating from the same mindset. A limited mindset produces limited outcomes. A reactive mindset produces reactive decisions. An emotional mindset produces emotional mistakes. But a disciplined, empowered, and intentional mindset produces a completely different life. The truth is, nothing improves on the outside until something evolves on the inside. You cannot create a consistent, stable, powerful financial future if your mind is still governed by fear, impatience, and impulse. You cannot build long-term wealth if you still think like someone who needs instant reassurance. You cannot rise to the next level while holding on to old beliefs that keep you stuck. Every great transformation requires a mental shift, a decision to leave behind the thinking patterns that once felt comfortable but no longer serve your growth. Your mindset determines how you interpret challenges. It decides whether you see setbacks as signals to quit or as lessons to learn from. It influences whether you approach opportunities with confidence or hesitation. When your mindset is aligned with growth, you do not panic at the first sign of difficulty. You do not get discouraged when things move slowly. You do not seek shortcuts because you understand that shortcuts often lead to long-term loss. Instead, you stay steady, strategic, and committed. Changing your mindset means changing how you respond to emotions. Instead of letting feelings dictate your decisions, you observe them without surrendering to them. You train yourself to ask better questions. Is this emotion temporary? Is this decision aligned with my future or driven by my fears? Am I acting from strength or from insecurity? These questions create space between impulse and action, space where wisdom can speak. A powerful mindset also takes responsibility. It refuses to blame circumstances, people, or timing. It understands that while you cannot control everything, you can control your preparation, your decisions, your reactions, and your discipline. You become the architect of your future rather than the prisoner of your feelings. And from that moment forward, your entire life begins to shift. But mindset change is not a one-time event. It is a daily practice. Every day, you choose whether to think like the person you used to be or the person you're becoming. Every day, you either feed fear or you feed faith. Every day, you either repeat old patterns or create new ones. The future you want will not appear magically. It will be built through the thoughts you choose, the beliefs you strengthen, and the decisions you upgrade. When your mindset evolves, your habits evolve. When your habits evolve, your actions evolve. And when your actions evolve, your results transform. This is why mindset is the root of everything. It is the soil from which all success grows. If the soil is weak, nothing can flourish. But if the soil is rich, disciplined, and nourished, even the smallest seed can grow into something extraordinary. Ultimately, your future changes the moment you do. Not when circumstances shift, not when opportunities appear, not when luck arrives. Transformation begins the moment you decide that your thinking will no longer be ruled by emotion, but guided by clarity, intention, and purpose. When your mindset upgrades, your entire life follows.